So, democracy means that everybody can play a part in making decisions.
So we can decide democratically to finish earlier then?
Yeah! Nice try. Well observed, Felix. You might be interested in this. Democracy is a Greek word. Demos means people, and the second part, kresi, comes from to rule. So translated, democracy means rule by the people.
Could you make it a little louder?
Good morning, Dr. Brömer. What a coincidence.
Hello.
What a lovely day. I'll go on ahead.
Wow.
What are you waiting for then? And don't forget to sign yourself in on the list. Then that's taken care of. Just a minute, I'll help. Here, you need to sign here. Gerstenmeier? Yes, 12 o'clock, no change. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kerstleier.
My name is Gerstenmeier. You should know that. I've worked in your office for 2 years and always take care of everything.
You mean I have my own secretary?
Office manager, if you don't mind. I didn't study office management for nothing, you know.
This is my office? How cool is that?
What can I do for you, Dr. Brömer?
I'd like an apple juice spritzer.
With all due respect, sir, that's too much. I didn't study office management to serve apple juice spritzers. What's wrong today?
Sorry, I wasn't thinking.
Yes, well, we have a busy day ahead of us today, as you well know. This morning is absolutely fully booked. At 10 o'clock, we have a parliamentary breakfast. At 11, there's a project group meeting. And at 12, you have a phone meeting.
Okay, 10, 11, 12 o'clock.
Yes, and at 12:30, you are meeting Dr. Schneider for lunch. The rest of the day I've kept free for you, so that you can prepare your address for the Bundestag this afternoon. Here is the manuscript.
An address in the Bundestag? But I can't. I've only ever done school project talks.
How should I understand that you are unable to give an address?
Why? Well, because I have to go to the toilet first.
But hurry up. The parliamentary breakfast is about to start.
Yes, there it is. Yep, I've found it. Lost fountain pen. 2 days searching, found it. It's a family heirloom. How did you get in here?
The door was open.
This isn't a playground.
I don't know, actually. It's so crazy. I was still at school in third period politics with Miss Tolle, and now I'm this here. I'm now called Dr. Brummer. I even have my own office with an office manager, and this afternoon I'm meant to give a speech in the Bundestag. But I don't even know what a member's supposed to do. There must be some kind of mix-up.
Hello, Renger here. From the Plenary Assistance Service. It's about a member called Mr. Brummer.
Dr. Brummer left the office without informing me.
That's unbelievable. Well, please cancel all appointments for this morning.
He has to give his speech in the Bundestag this afternoon.
Yes, I'll take care of it. You can be sure of that.
Good, thank you.
Goodbye. So, that's done. Your Mrs. Gerstenmaier will give you a little piece now.
Oh, cool. How did you do that?
Oh, it's a trade secret. But if you like, we can go and see what a real member actually does. To make sure that in a country as big as Germany, to make sure that people are able to live together in a country as big as Germany, many decisions have to be made. For example, whether grandma and granddad should receive a bigger pension, or how we can best protect animals and the environment, or how to tackle child poverty. But because it's not possible for every single person in Germany to meet up every day and take these decisions together, they elect individuals who are called members of the Bundestag. Members are men and women like these two here, Mrs. Müller and Mr. Meyer. Members are elected for a specific period of time. They represent the German people in the Bundestag in Berlin. That is why they are called the people's representatives. Usually the members belong to a political party, that is to say, to a group where people join together because they have the same opinion about things. That is not a requirement, however. Isn't that right, Mr. Mr. Meyer? Anyone can become a member. Well, nearly everyone. You must be at least 18 years old and a German citizen. Members usually have two offices, one in their constituency and another in the Parliament buildings in Berlin. Our members usually work in the capital for about half of their time, but they don't spend all day in Parliament voting on laws. Ah, there's Mrs. Müller too. Members also have many other tasks. For example, they work in committees. These are working groups which deal with individual topics. Our members sit on the committees for areas in which they have specialist knowledge. This is where they prepare for parliamentary decisions. They also meet regularly with their own parliamentary groups. A parliamentary group is a group of members who belong to the same party. They spend a lot of their time in their offices. Their work involves drafting laws, reading files and responding to letters and emails. They also meet visitors and other people and talk about important political topics. Oh, I think you have an appointment. Members also have plenty to do in their constituencies. They report back on their work in Parliament and keep contact with people. They also hold one-to-one meetings with their voters. This way they learn about people's concerns and also what they should bring up in Parliament. Why not check out kuppelgucker.de, where you'll discover all sorts of fun and interesting things in German about the Bundestag. But getting back to our members, sometimes they have information stands in a pedestrian area to come into contact with people.
Oh no, it's Miss Gerstenmeier. Should I answer?
That's your decision. Now you are a member of the German Bundestag and can decide for yourself. Repeat after me. I am Dr. Felix Brömer and a member of the German Bundestag. Press there.
I am Dr. Felix Brömer, member of the German Bundestag.
And off. Very good. See, it's not so difficult.
Yeah.
So, now we're going to take one of the fastest lifts in the capital. Let's just sort that out. Quickly, so you look the part. All right? Okay. After you. This is great, eh?
Yeah.
It's very nice and bright in the top here. The glass with all the light flooding
Level
through.
7, south.
This is your first time in Parliament, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's rather interesting what happens here.
Yeah.
And down there you can see... There, wait a minute. Over there.
Miss Gerstenmeier. How do you know your way around here so well?
Well, I'm a plenary attendant in Parliament. I make sure things run smoothly, and the members have everything they need. So I'm a kind of silent helper behind the scenes. Down there are my colleagues.
And so many chairs.
Yes. The colour of the chairs was created especially for the Bundestag. It's called Reichstagsblue. And that, what you see down there, is the plenary chamber. That is the beating heart of our democracy. People do not always have the same opinion. Maybe you know that already. For example, when you want to do something with your friends after school. Hello, what are you all doing today? Oh, it looks as if everyone wants to do something different. Eat ice cream, go to the cinema or play football. It's not so easy to agree with each other. Have you got an idea? Ah, now we're taking a vote and the majority will decide. Great! And that is how democracy works, more or less. The term democracy comes from ancient Greek and means rule by the people. So in a democratic country, there is no emperor, king or queen who just decides things without asking people. In a democracy, the people decide. Everyone is allowed to express their opinion freely, get together and get informed. And this is the important bit. Go out and vote. Without free and secret elections, democracy is unthinkable. The Bundestag in Berlin holds elections every 4 years. Before the election, everyone who is entitled to vote is notified by post of the election so that no one misses out, and they can go to the polling station to vote. To help the voters know who they might vote for, the candidates present their aim in their constituencies, that is, in the town or region where they live. For example, they explain what they intend to fight for if they are elected, and in doing so try to convince as many voters as possible to vote for them. This is what is called an election campaign. On election day, the voters decide. On the ballot paper, they can mark 2 crosses. Firstly, for a candidate such as Mrs. Müller, who can go straight into Parliament as the member for her constituency. Secondly, for a party. This way, more members are elected to Parliament according to the electoral lists the parties have written. The members then elect the Federal Chancellor, who together with his or her ministers forms the government.
But what happens if the voters don't agree with their members or their government?
Oh, that's quite simple. If voters are not happy with the work of the government or one of the parties, they can make a different decision at the next election. Elected representatives do not always find a decision that pleases everyone. So in a democracy, the majority decides. The idea that the majority decides is fair and sensible if they also take the opinion of others into consideration. The majority in Parliament also knows that they themselves can one day become a minority. There is often a lot of talking, and sometimes disagreement in Parliament in order to find a solution which satisfies as many people as possible. Democracy teaches us, for example, that it's important to overcome problems peacefully through discussion and debate. Otherwise, you end up with a situation where the strongest is always automatically right and wins. And what would that be like?
At school break, we have arguments sometimes, because the old ones want to decide everything. Sure, it is annoying when someone thinks they're right, just because they're stronger. So I think the principle that the majority decides is much fairer.
You see, even their democracy is good. It sets rules for how people should behave with each other. Do you see the small figures all over?
Yeah. Who is that?
I can't tell exactly. And here is the dome, which was built at a later date. Shh.
Are we going to the dome too?
Good idea, if we still have time.
Cape and koi?
What kind of language do you think that is?
Perhaps Russian?
Very good. The graffiti was left by the Russian soldiers.
Russian soldiers here in the Reichstag building?
Yes. 1945, do you see? If buildings could talk, the Reichstag building would have lots to say. It has experienced a great deal in its 120-year history. The Reichstag is an important symbol in German history and one of the best-known buildings in Germany. Today, it is the seat of the German Bundestag, Germany's parliament. Come, let's step back in time. After the opening of the Reichstag in 1894, the elected representatives of the German Empire met there for the first time. That is where the word Reichstag comes from. Reich means empire in German. At that time, the country was still ruled from Berlin by the German emperor. Later, the emperor had to abdicate, and once again the parliament building played a central role. The first democratic republic in Germany was proclaimed from one of its balconies. In the years that followed, Parliament really had something to say. These years were difficult, both economically and politically. This helped Hitler seize power. From 1933, Germany was no longer a democracy. The Reichstag was set on fire. The plenary chamber was almost completely destroyed. The fire gave the National Socialists a reason to arrest their opponents and throw them into prison. 1945. A few days before the end of the Second World War, the Reichstag building was occupied by the Soviet army. Joyful and proud soldiers left messages on the walls. "I was here" is one example. Or sometimes the soldier just left his name. After the war, there were two Germanys, and Berlin was also divided. The wall ran directly along the side of the Reichstag building. Throughout this time, it could no longer be used for Parliament. When the wall fell in 1989, there was great joy among the people. 1 year later, Germany was reunified. This was marked with a huge celebration in front of the Reichstag building on the 3rd of October 1990. Since then, we have celebrated the Day of German Unity on the 3rd of October. But before members and the government could move in again, the building needed to be spruced up. As part of these renovations, the glass dome was built on top of the building. The dome is a symbol for the openness and clarity of our democracy. A huge funnel of mirrors stands inside the dome. The mirrors reflect sunlight into the plenary chamber and provide a source of light, really quite practical. And everyone is able to see this for themselves, because the Reichstag building is open to all visitors. And there is also lots to discover around the building. It's lovely here when the boats pass by, like being by the sea.
I've never been on one of those.
No? You should try it. It's very interesting. They tell you about the history of the city. And you see the bridges here. They go over to the library.
Yeah?
Yes, it's one of the most popular buildings in Berlin. And?
Wow, the city's huge.
Yes, this is one of my favorite places here, in the Reichstag building. From here you can see the whole city. Look over there. A plane is taking off.
Hello, Dr. Brömme.
Miss Gerstenmeier.
No, run that way.
Will do, thanks.
Take care.
So this is the way from the Paul-Löbe building over to the Reichstag building. This is where the German parliament, the Bundestag, sits. The word parliament comes from the French word parler.
Are you hiding?
Can any of the younger visitors maybe tell us what that means?
Being followed.
It's a long
Parler
story.
means to talk in English. Because in a democracy, it is important to talk to each other.
Sehr geehrter Herr Präsident, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen.
Parliament is a place where there's a lot of discussion and sometimes also strong disagreement.
Aufgabe müssen wir uns endlich machen.
Berlin is not the only place where you will find a parliament. You might have a pupils' parliament at your school, where you discuss relevant topics. Cities also have a parliament, as well as the federal states. In all of these parliaments, there are elected representatives who think about and discuss what is best for the voters. The parliament for the whole of Germany is the Bundestag, where the elected members sit for discussions and decisions. We've already met two of them. Many people work in parliament to help these two get on with all their tasks. There are office staff, lawyers, caretakers, and plenary attendants. Altogether, a few thousand people work in the parliament. But let's get back to Mrs. Müller and the other members of the Bundestag. You have already heard how members who belong to the same party form a group in parliament. This is a group that shares the same opinion on many topics. This can be very useful when it comes to a vote. It is easy to tell how many members form a group from the allocation of seats in parliament. Have a look. Two of the most important jobs of the Bundestag are electing the federal chancellor
Ich schwöre.
and keeping the government in check. The members find out which decisions are planned by the government. If the members are not happy, they can ask questions and demand that something else be done.
im Quartier, sondern auch übergreifend integrierte Energiekonzepte für Städte zu entwickeln.
Sie wissen es, aber ich darf vielleicht den Kolleginnen und Kollegen insgesamt sagen.
Everyone is able to follow these discussions, either from the visitors' gallery in Parliament, on television, or online. New laws or a change to existing laws are also discussed in Parliament and then decided on. In their speeches, members talk about the advantages and disadvantages and try to persuade others to have the same opinion.
Und deswegen war es auch wichtig.
Sometimes the discussions and debates are so heated that the president of the Bundestag must step in and remind the members to keep order.
Sich gerade nach oben bewegen.
The president also makes sure that each speaker keeps to the allocated time. Last but not least, the Parliament is responsible for the budget. Pay attention now, Karlchen. The budget shows how taxes are used. The federal government proposes how much money should be spent and in which areas over the following year. But nothing can happen without the agreement of the Bundestag. All in all, the members of the Bundestag have a lot to decide. Pretty exhausting, don't you think?
Well, you're really keeping me on my toes today.
Is that the address?
Mm-hmm. You'll do great. See if I'm wrong.
I hope so.
Dr. Brömer?
There are over 1,700 rooms where the members and the Bundestag administration staff have their offices.
Dr. Brömer will speak about the draft bill implementing the auditing regulations of Directive 56 EU. Felix Brömer. Felix Brömer.
Felix Brömer. Felix Brömer.
Dear members, colleagues of the German Bundestag,
Everything all right?
yes, of course. But I was thinking we could take the next class outing to Berlin. We could visit the Bundestag there.
Yes, man! Great idea!
Good idea. Why not?
Yeah! Woo! Yeah!
Are those bullet holes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are those bullet holes?
Yes. Yes.
And those are bullet holes?
For God's sake, where on earth is my mobile? How silly. I can't find it anymore.
How much space do you think each person needs?
Who's that?
No idea.
And that?
That is a roof.
Okay.
Yeah.